We found that bearing back there is bad. One thing I love about this combine, so your spring retainers, you don't have to unthread the nut all the way down the back to release the spring tension. They got a nut on the front. You just give it a couple turns up front, it releases the belt tension, you pull the pin, and now your idler is free to move. So then we can just pop the belts off the front up here and then work on this bearing. So the sheave is supposed to have puller bolts in it, but the guy before me apparently didn't like them, so he ruined it. So I just welded up a piece of pipe. I like square because then it holds for me while I turn on it, and got never seasoned lube and welded nuts, just some crap I had on a shelf to make a quick puller quick, and we'll see if it works. Ready? If you run the torch right, you'll never know that you used the torch other than the little white discoloring. But nice, perfectly clean shaft. We'll clean it up. I'll have to get a bearing flange and then we can put it together. This wasn't a bad belt to take off. They're already on the ground. I needed a 13, a 16, and a 24 millimeter socket, and then the equivalent wrench. Pop this idler off right here, pop him off, the 13 millimeter to take a couple bolts out from this guide, and then a 13 for this bracket, the bracket right there that sits above the sheave, and it's got the belt guides on. So to get to this variable speed belt, to this belt, we got to get this big drive belt off the front and the reel pump belt. Well, the reel pump belt is easy because it's just a jam nut. That loosens up, it swings, the belt falls right off. This big drive belt, that's from the feeder house clutch to this pulley to drive your variable speed, is just like the other ones. There's just a jam nut on the top. You loosen the bottom up an inch. You can see I loosened about an inch and a half. Then you run this down a little bit and you watch it take the tension off. You pull the pin, and then it was one set screw on a lock collar, and the whole idler assembly just came right off. And this is our hydraulic clutch, or our hydraulic sheave variator. So to get that hydraulic assembly off, to check out these bushings, it was the grease zerk. Remove the grease zerk line, and then that gold cover, 6 bolts, 3 big ones and 3 little ones. That covers off, and we can see these bushings are absolutely gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. So there's no reason to fight with them, so we can put this back together minus our hydraulic hose to get the new belt on. So the new belt's on. Just got to put this stuff back together. These don't look terribly bad, but there is that little bit of movement. And this is the main drive, the variable drive for the thrashing system. So I will be putting these three in just as a preventative measure.